Like all young boys, I wanted to be a cowboy when I grew up. And like most young boys, my life took a different path. However, I'm fortunate enough to have some friends that run a working cattle ranch in central Utah. When I got an invite to come out and help on branding day at one of their ranches, there was no way I was going to say no. I suspect I wasn't all that much help, but they tolerated my inexperience. And on this day, there was a bunch of jobs that just required a strong back and a weak mind. That's my specialty. For 4 or 5 generations, Branding Day has been an event that you could set your watch by. Since the earliest days of the Wild Wild West, marking your cattle, turning bulls into steers, and removing horns have all been a part of raising beef on open range. While some of the methods have changed, I got to see firsthand that the Western spirit is alive and well. One of the first things you notice on Branding Day is that nobody cares more about these animals than this family. It makes sense, I guess. Their paycheck depends on how well these cattle do, but it runs even deeper than that. Taking care of these animals is a central part of who these ranchers are. I was surprised how well they knew the individual history of many of the animals just off the top of their head. While this ranch does the traditional cattle drives, one of the few I'd guess, this particular herd gets trucked from winter to summer range and back again. Cows and calves are sorted into different pens. These calves were born on open range, and so pens are something new to them. Most of the cows have been through this before, and so they move off the truck and into the correct pens with little need for herding. Moving the calves to where they need to be is the job of the youngest cowboys. Both the young cowboys and the calves are learning together on this day. While these ranchers are perfectly capable of branding the old-fashioned way with roping and hog tying, they have a great system of alleyways for moving the cattle, and a squeeze chute makes life easier both on the cattle and the people. The young cowboys sort the calves into a narrow alleyway where they wait their turn at the squeeze chute. The squeeze chute ensures that the animals are held tight so they don't thrash around and hurt themselves too much. After being born on the open range, being this close to humans is definitely a new experience for them. If you're a bull calf, or if you have horns, the experience is going to be a little bit more involved for you. But everyone does their best to make sure the experience is as smooth and calm as possible. The goal on an open range ranch is to handle the animals as little as possible, and so they take the opportunity at this time to give them all the vaccinations and dewormings that they might need. On the chance that the calves have diarrhea, they'll also be given something for that. Everyone gets a fancy new earring as well.
Feel that one? That's vein. That's vein. You have to get right between those, right there.
This is also a great opportunity to teach the young cowboys the skills they're going to need in the future. As you can see, this operation runs like a well-oiled machine. How big the calves are really depends on when they were born, but this narrow alleyway keeps everybody waiting in line fairly calmly without an opportunity to turn around and create a traffic jam. You'll notice here that one of the guys doesn't look at all like the others. But as long as you pull your weight, nobody cares what you look like, although they will laugh at you after you get a sunburn after working out in the sun all day.
First time here?
Yeah.
Ready for initiation? I already tried getting
Throw one on the cooker for him.
No branding day is going to be complete without Rocky Mountain oysters, but I prefer mine cooked. if you're ranching, something's going to break. Fortunately, this broken panel only took a couple of minutes and a little bit of baling wire to get things back up and running. Horns have been bred out of most cattle these days, but every once in a while a calf ends up with horns. Horns can cause all sorts of issues, and so they're removed now while it's still relatively simple. One of the most brilliant things about the spring roundup is how well it trains young cowboys to be good older cowboys. It's expected that the young cowboys will get the calves where they need to be in a timely manner. A group of calves is probably about the hardest group you'll ever have to herd. Here the young cowboys are making sure that the little calves don't accidentally get crushed by the bigger ones as they go through the alleyway. While an adult could probably physically make these calves go where they needed to, the young cowboys don't have the physical strength to make that happen, so they have to learn how to work with the cattle to get them to where they need to be. This is a skill they'll use the rest of their lives. They don't always succeed, but after a few years of herding calves, they get pretty good cattle sense. Once the calves are done going through the chute, they have a chance to settle down. Most of them just end up eating grass till they can get back with mom. Once there's a big enough group, they're all herded back into the pen with the cows. There's also opportunities for young cowboys to give their hand at bull riding. After a good long hard day, we finally find the calf that we've been looking for. Everyone's really efficient by now. And so just like that, Brandon Day is over. The calves are all reunited with their moms. And the bulls are ready to join the herd too. I suppose there's calves that don't end up having to go through branding day, but they end up in a feedlot or a 5-acre pasture somewhere. All these cows will end up spending their lives in pastures that are measured in miles instead of acres. That seems like a pretty darn good deal to me. Once they're out of the pens, the herd is slowly pushed to a large open meadow. They're held in this meadow for an hour or so, just to make sure that everybody gets reunited. Once everybody's reunited, then the herd is freed to go on its way. The corrals are now empty and quiet. It's been a good day, and while these corrals are necessary, I think everyone would agree life's much better out on the open range. With a long hot day behind them, everyone heads for home. There will be plenty of hard work ahead of them tomorrow, but for me, I hope I at least get an invite next spring.